Paul Bunyan. Summary of the Tall Tales. Paul Bunyan was the strongest baby ever born in the state of Maine. When he was only a few weeks old, he caught and strangled with his bare hands a full-grown grizzly bear. He flattened several acres of trees by simply rolling over in his sleep. Before he even learned to talk, Paul took an interest in logging. He would break off trees and fill the wagon as he wandered through the neighborhood. Some of the neighbors complained about Paul, so his parents anchored his cradle out in the harbor where they thought he would be safe and keep out of mischief. The cradle turned out to be a mistake because when Paul started rocking it, he stirred up enormous waves that caused ships to sink and flooded nearby houses. He washed the city of Boston out to sea, and it floated down to Massachusetts. Paul's parents decided to move to the backwoods where Paul wouldn't bother anyone. Paul loved the woods. He raced deer and was so quick on his feet that he could blow out a candle and jump into bed before the room got dark. One night, while he was up in Canada, there was a blue snowstorm. Moose and bears were frightened and stampeded north. Some bears reached the Arctic and have lived there since. Their hair had turned white from fright, and we now call them polar bears. Paul went outside during the storm and found a young ox in a snowdrift and brought him inside to keep him warm. He was so cold he was blue. He named the ox Bebe, which is French-Canadian for baby. Most folks called his ox Babe. The two of them became great friends and grew big and strong together. When full grown, the distance between Babe's eyes measured 171 axe handles, 3 small cans of tomatoes, and a plug of chewing tobacco laid end to end. For some reason, the ox never lost his blue color. Paul grew a beard of which he was very proud. He'd break off the top of a pine tree and use this for a comb to keep his beard neat. More and more people were moving in, so Paul and Babe decided to move west. When Paul wanted to move logs from Minnesota to a sawmill in New Orleans, he dug a river to carry them. He called it the Mississippi, and he hired his own lumbering crew to work with him. For lumbermen, he hired Big Tim Burr, the 7 Hackett brothers, and Hard Jaw Murphy. He also hired a blacksmith, Ole, and 2 cooks, Sourdough Slim and Cream Puff Fatty. Paul put his lumber camp buildings on wheels so Babe could pull them. As he and his crew moved west, they cleared land where pioneers moved in to build their homes and towns. Once, while they were in the Appalachian Mountains, some underground ogres, called Gumbaroos, attacked Paul's men. They fought for a long time until Paul and his men won, and the Gumbaroos went back underground and have never been seen again. Although Paul was busy logging most of the time, he liked to go hunting now and then, and he wished that he had a dog to go with him. Paul was so big and moved so fast that any dog he tried to take with him was quickly tired out. One summer, he wrote to his friend P.T. Barnum to send him a bird dog. When the dog arrived, Paul taught it to ride a bicycle, and the dog learned to pedal furiously and keep up with Paul. But of course the bicycle was no good in the woods, so Paul sent the dog back. Paul got another dog, a puppy that his men had brought into camp. It seemed to be half dachshund and half wolfhound. Paul took on the care and feeding of the young pup that he named Skookum. He fed the pup from a dish that he put under his desk. Paul fed him sourdough pancakes and beef stew. The sourdough would swell up, so the puppy grew very fast to keep up with his growing belly. Paul fed him every 10 minutes during the day and every 17 minutes during the night. The front part of the dog didn't grow because he had to reach the food dish under the desk. So the dog ended up being 6 inches high in front and stood 16 feet high behind. His powerful hind legs let Skookum keep up with Paul without the least trouble, and they often went hunting with Paul's famous 76-barreled shotgun rifle combination. Paul hired more and more workers until the cooks had a hard time cooking enough food for everyone. Paul built a huge flapjack griddle and hired boys to skate across it on slabs of bacon to grease it each morning. The cooks needed lots of syrup for the pancakes, so Paul took a few days off and dug the St. Lawrence River and the Great Lakes so that Babe could pull barges of Vermont maple syrup to the lumberjacks' camp. With all these flapjacks covered in syrup, the lumberjacks had no trouble working hard and soon leveled the Great Plains. Paul made a special axe to clear off the state of Iowa so the farmers could grow corn, and he cleared Kansas so the farmers could grow wheat. About this time, a blizzard came up and lasted for years, and Babe got very sad. Ole, the blacksmith, made special green glasses for Babe. When he looked through them and saw the world green instead of white, he felt so cheerful that he thought he was in clover. He ate so much snow that the treetops reappeared, and with that encouragement, springtime exploded. Paul held a big party for the lumberjacks and settlers to celebrate all the holidays they'd missed during the Great Blizzard. At that time, there were no mountains between the Dakotas and the Pacific, and in the winter, the winds blew in fiercely. Paul decided that he needed to build a windbreak, and he thought about how to do this. Finally, he hit upon a plan. He pulled the prairie dog holes from a deserted prairie dog town. He and his men placed these prairie dog holes all the way from Alaska to New Mexico. The cook followed along in a chuck wagon with a hole in the floor. Through the hole, the cook filled each hole with sourdough. As the sourdough started to rise, the ground shook, rocks pushed up, and a fine range of mountains rose up, that we now call the Rockies. People who visit the Jackson Hole area can still hear the sourdough gurgling and rumbling under the ground, sometimes causing water to shoot up to a great height. Paul set up camp in the northwest for a while. Paul had a huge bunkhouse that housed 14,000 men. One of his rivals, a man called Joe, brought in an ostrich from California. He challenged Paul to let Babe race the ostrich on the 4th of July. Lots of bets were made on the race. Some say that $43 million changed hands that day. Paul had brass tips made for Babe's horns. The race finally started, and the ostrich was about 8 miles ahead before Babe even lifted a foot. But once Babe got started, he won easily. That was the only race Babe ever ran. After Paul had logged on the Columbia River for a while, a man named Mr. Rainier came to see him. He asked if Paul could help him dig Puget Sound. He had a contract with the government to dig a sound for Seattle so that the city would have a harbor. Paul agreed to help, and since he had to put the dirt he dug somewhere, he piled it up into a mountain, which is now called Mount Rainier. Then Paul and his men headed southwest. It was so hot in Arizona that the flapjack griddle curled up and the batter evaporated. The hungry men became weak. Paul's axe fell from his shoulder, and it gouged a trench, which today is known as the Grand Canyon. Paul knew he had to do something for his hungry and discouraged men. He found some farmers who sold him a barn full of corn. Babe pulled the barn back for the men. When the sun hit the barn, the corn exploded into a blizzard of popcorn. The men had a wonderful time eating and playing in it. A west wind blew the clouds of popcorn, Paul and his men all the way to the Pacific Ocean. After having crossed the country, Paul gave up lumbering and headed north. Some say he still roams with Babe in the wild Alaskan mountain ranges.